useFormStatus, in a nutshell, it helps you share form states, pending and data specifically, across child components of a form. Where is this useful? The only sort of place I can think of this being useful is if you have quite a complicated form which has multiple subforms within it. For example, you might have a form that captures personal information, then address information, there may be business information. All of those might be sort of subforms within the parent form, and you can share states across all of these child forms easily. Let's get started with a blank canvas and do an npx create react app use form status. You can name this whatever you want. -yt use template TypeScript. Right, now that's built, we're going to cd into it. Hey, that's the one. And we'll do a code.-r. Let's get the development server up and running. We'll do a yarn. So actually, no, before that, open up the package JSON. We need to install React 19 because React 19 hasn't stably been released. If it has, you don't need to do this next step. Move straight onto the sort of coding part. We're going to do a yarn add --exact, and those two, look at you, I had it there. So react.rc, react.rc. I'll see you when it finishes. It literally took 6 seconds, so I don't really need to stop recording. Right, and then we need to update our types. So we want this to be npm react. Wait, what do you want it to be? I think it needs to be types-react at rc. And then this one, npm types-react/dom at rc. And then add those to the overrides as well, so it doesn't install a different version. Overrides at types react npm typing the wrong thing again. Types-react at rc at types-react dom npm types react dom rc. See if that works. Give it a yarn. It took 6 seconds again. It did work. Now we're gonna open up the development server, or spin it up, load it up, or whatever you want to say. While that's spinning up, let's go into here and just go into the app.tsx and clear out all this. We don't want it. We don't need it. All right, get rid of that. Let's give ourselves a nice header. Use form status example 101. And we're gonna sorry, I just started opening up Chrome. Right, and let's check out how that looks. Sure, it looks wonderful. Open up Chrome. Cool. And now we've got that. We're going to create a components folder. We're going to shove everything in there. We're going to have a form container.tsx. So we are using TypeScript. It's going to have a form, and it's going to have an action. Just write out a we action, shall we? So it's going to be an asynchronous function. Let's just call it form action. So I'm lazy to think of a better name, to be honest. That's going to take in form data, which will be of type form data. To simulate an API, actually submitting data to a database, we're going to make a promise. We're going to await a new promise and resolve a timeout in there. Resolve. And I think I'm missing the closing. Yeah, I was. My bad. Yeah, that's fine. That's the action. And now we'll pass that into here. So I'm going to also add a let's call this personal details form. And this is just going to capture some basic information. We'll have a label, first name, input. It's just as basic as you get. Name, first name. This is important, this property, because that is going to be the key of in our form data objects, where we'll actually be storing the data that's being typed into that input. It will make sense later. And yeah, literally just want this basic as you get, because I should make a component, like a text input component, and then I wouldn't have to repeat this, but oops, don't do my last name, I meant last name. But I can't be bothered, to be honest. And that's not why we're here. We're here to use this lovely hook. Use form state. Oh no. No, it doesn't come from React. So we actually need to import use form status from React DOM. Right, and then here we're going to have a button, submit. It's going to also be of type submit. And how we use this hook is like so. And we get two things out of this, pending and data. Use form status. So pending, that is going to be true when our action is running, which is going to be 2 seconds when this timeout is doing its thing and this promise is resolved and we're waiting here. So that's what pending is going to represent. And what we can do is we can disable this. So we don't want people to spam that submit button and send loads of requests to our API, our fake API in this case. We can disable that when an action is running on our form, which is really cool. Data, just to prove that things are sort of working. So we can have first name, and that's going to be data.get first name. That's nice, it did a little question mark for me. First name, spell that wrong. And then can show you the last name as well. Why not last name, data, I'm going to type in a question mark myself, last name. You'll be able to see that in action. So if we import this, so personal details form, and then let's give it a test. Almost forgot. It's not going to do much now because I'm not even importing it. So let's import form container from there. Okay, now let's give it a test. Open up Chrome and let's do Mr. Aiden. I'm going to zoom in a bit so you can see better. Not that it's much to look at, to be honest. Motion. And if I hit submit here, whoa, it's captured that data. And did you see that? It's disabled while that form action is running. Very nice. So this example isn't really showing off the hook properly, because we just have one child component in this form. It's not exactly the most complicated thing in the world. Because where it really shines is when you have a more complicated form with multiple child forms. So what we're going to do is add a bit of state to this, to the form container. We're going to call it use state. And use that 0, because this is going to be the active page. Active page. There's going to be multiple pages on this form. So if active page 0, the first one, then we display the personal details. And what we can do is when they hit that submit button, so we're not actually going to have to replicate this logic in multiple places. We can have it in just one place, and that is the power of our hook here. So if I set that to be prev state plus 1, just incrementing by 1. And then we need to actually add another form. So let's have an address form. Do a RFC to auto generate that for us. Then we're going to have active page equals 1. Then we will show the address form. That's what we call it. Yeah, short-term memory there. And Here we could like go crazy. We could have like 10 forms if we wanted. Can't be bothered to do that. So if active page is 2, so it's going to be after they submit the address form. It's going to imagine this is like a summary page, summarizing all of the great details of the form that we captured. Don't forget the ampersand there. So let's just say submitted. Well done. You completed the amazing form. Right. So how about we add some bits and bobs to this address form, and I'm going to be very lazy about this. I'm just going to copy that. This is awful programming technique, by the way. Make a component, reusable components in the future, okay? Don't follow this bad habit. I'm just trying to demonstrate the hook, to be fair, not how to create the best form in the world. So let's call this line 1. Line 1, so like the first line of the address. It's a bit weird having a number there. I'm going to change it to 1, O-N-E-1. This can be city, and what is an address without a postcode or zip code if you're from the States? Okay, we actually need a submit button as well, don't we? Button, submit. That's what's going to be of type submit. The hook. Import once again useFormStatus from React DOM, not from React, from React DOM. That's going to have pending data useFormStatus. I'm not going to bother console logging out all the data again because we've already demonstrated how to do that in the other form. But what I will do is, just to show you that our action is running and stuff and it's waiting for it and correctly showing this pending data, let's just do disabled pending on our submit button. Actually just, can I do that? No, still not happy. Oh, whatever. Okay. Let's test it out. So you can see in the console, there it is. It's doing its thing. And we didn't log out this bit, so we don't need to console log out. Let's see if it actually works, shall we? So I'm going to put Oxford. Oh, that should be for city, really, shouldn't it? I'm going to give you my actual address. OX something. Great form validation there as well. Let's submit that. You can see pending state working again. And submitted. You've reached the end of this form. Well done. So it's not the most long video because it's not the most complicated hook, but I hope I've sort of demonstrated where it is useful and where you can sort of save yourself some replication by implementing the shared submit logic across all these sort of child forms. And I can easily just share the data of your entire form wherever, like just all these children without having to manually pass down the state. I really do hope that was remotely helpful. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time.